Hey, Mama, do you want to steer your marriage towards happiness and harmony? I'm going to teach you how to take control of your life and your home by mastering your in. Welcome to Married Moms Take Control. Today, we're exploring what it means to take control of your marriage. So, we're not talking about taking control of your husband, but more how to control your influence and the dynamics of your marriage through your actions, your emotions, and just understanding of yourself and your husband. I'm Nevart Willborn. I'm here to guide you through the steps to feel more fulfilled in your marriage. All right. So, one of the most important things for married moms to realize is that when we learn how to manage ourselves, we gain so much more control in our lives. And in the last episode, we've talked a lot about self regulation, emotional regulation, and just learning how to understand why we do what we do and why that's important. So by the end of this episode, you're going to understand how to wield your influence positively, leading to a more fulfilling marriage and a more harmonious home. So I'm going to walk you through my framework of what it means to take control. So the word control is a heavy word, right? A lot of the times we think of it as a negative of controlling someone else or controlling ourselves as being really like type A or something. And that's not what I'm talking about. So taking control here means managing your own behavior, managing your emotion, and how you contribute to the interactions and the relationships that you have with other people so that you can set a positive tone and influence your marriage in the direction of their marriage. So by setting your tone, behaving a certain way, it influences your marriage, it influences your relationship. So let's talk about this framework. So I am giving you 10 things that I want you to think about. And I'm going to walk you through them. And again, what's one of the things that I love about what I'm doing with the podcast in this rebrand is I'm setting up a lot of what I want to teach you to create this foundation for you as a woman. And so even every one of the things that we're going to talk about today, I am going to go into so much more detail of these in the upcoming episodes. So it's exciting to me because of the value that I know it will bring to you and your relationship. So, number one, manage your mood and your emotional regulation. So, talked in the last episode about how to manage your mood or what that means. So basically, no, managing your emotional state means that how you respond to things, how you handle things, how you react to things. That is you managing your emotional state. And I bet if you take an inventory of your home and the day to day interactions with your spouse, with your children, you're going to see that there are a lot of different moods that come from every single person in your home, and their behaviors are going to be unique to the person. But you'll probably learn, if you really try to observe it, you will learn that the way you react to things really plays a big role. If if you have a toddler and that toddler is being reactive, not listening to you and throws a tantrum, how you respond, how you react to that behavior of your toddler probably is going to set the tone for how we're going to get through that tantrum. If you just start yelling at them, or if you cave in to whatever they are throwing a tantrum about, then you are teaching that certain negative behaviors are acceptable, that yelling from you is a normal part of your interaction. And that's not what we want to teach our children. And it's not how we want to behave. But also if we give in to the behavior, then we're teaching the child that throwing a tantrum when you don't get your way is appropriate. And that's not what we want to teach. So by you responding differently, learning how to self-regulate, learning how to walk away, learning how to not give in, you are now setting the mood and the tone for your home. And that's just one simple example. You can take that in every possible stage of development for your child, interaction with your spouse. And again, you can't control your spouse, you can't control your children. So there are going to be times where you do all the things right and the other people are still behaving in ways that are frustrating or upsetting. But for the most part, how we respond, how we behave is a huge aid to how the mood of the home is navigated. So number one, to influencing your marriage is managing mood and emotional regulation. So I gave you an example about child rearing, parenting. Let's talk about an example with your marriage. If your spouse is doesn't do the thing you asked him to do. And he, didn't take care of a task, forgot to do something, or even, you call that you call him and you're like, hey, we're going to this. And he's like, you didn't tell me we're going to this. Yeah, I totally told you we were going to this. How you respond in something even so small as, well, of course I told you, you never listened to me, right? That's going to lead to a certain response from your husband. And now you're going to have an interaction that is very much fueled and based on your reaction. Doesn't mean that you are responsible for all the emotions in your home. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you have to set the tone because your spouse shouldn't be responsible. I'm saying he's not part of this conversation. So I'm going to teach you how to do your part. And what we've learned, at least what I've learned in my personal experience and in my professional experience, is when one person does change the behavior in the interaction, it typically leads to a follow the leader type of situation where the other person falls in line. And then it becomes easier to have conversations to make changes, right? So if you respond to that scenario instead of what I always tell you, you never listen to me. This is what I'm talking about, blah, blah, blah. If instead you say, I did tell you it was on the calendar, I'm going to go do this thing. I'll talk to you later. And you just end it or something along that lines that's very calm. It's not, it's not conflict ridden or accusatory or defensive or whatever. Then it gets you out, you manage your emotion, and now you have prevented yourself from engaging in an escalated response, right? So as we move through these things, I will be giving you so many real life examples. I'm going to be teaching you very specifically in episodes to come how it's like when present scenarios, and we're going to just how to deal, because that's one of the biggest things and pieces of feedback that I get from women that I work with is I just don't know how to say that. So then what I do is I literally help women grasp what they want to say in conversations with their husbands, and changes that helps women learn how to come up with the right way to express their emotions, how to say it in a way that's controlled. And it is a huge game changer. I've learned how to do that so much over the years for myself because I'm super sensitive, get my feelings hurt or easily. So I have to learn how to communicate in a way that feels right to me. Okay, so that was number one, manage your mood and your emotional regulation. Number two is lead by example and communication. And that goes with, so if you choose your battles wisely, if you time your conversations when you and your spouse are open to the discussions, then you set the standard for respectful and constructive communication, right? If you know your husband and you know that right when he gets home from work after a stressful day, or right when you've gotten home from work and you're stressed, or kids are loud and disruptive and you're both on edge, that is probably not the right time to talk about something serious, right? A conflict situation or something that you know is going to lead to disagreement. Taking the time, picking how to do it, finding the right way to open a conversation, learning how to own your feelings, using owning statements, all those things that I'm going to teach you. That is imperative to good communication. One of the things that I know has been huge positive thing in my marriage is my ability to choose the right time and way to talk to my husband about something. So if he does something that hurt my feelings or annoyed me or whatever, early on, I would just react. That was really mean. I don't know why you said that, blah, 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 blah. And then what I got to kind of notice myself is that I then I don't speak the way that I want to. I'm not communicating what I want to say clearly because I'm emotional. I'm worked up. One of the things that I hate the most is not having control. I want to be in control. And that's not, I want to control you. It's, I want to control myself. I am very specific about the kinds of situations I put myself in. Like, it's one of the reasons that I am not a fan of drinking alcohol because I refuse to put myself in a situation where I could potentially lose control, and I'm a lightweight. So it doesn't take long for me to do that. So I've learned over the years, like what is okay for me to drink, because if I cross this certain line, that's a very quick line to hit, then I don't feel like I'm in control of the things coming out of my mouth and my behaviors. And I absolutely refuse to do that because that's just my personality. I don't want to say anything I'm going to regret. I don't want to embarrass myself. But that plays into how I communicate now because I want to be heard a certain way. I want to be taken seriously. I want to be respected. But at the same time, I don't want to regret and then feel embarrassed and have to no, obviously, I always apologize when I'm wrong. But if I can do something to prevent that, I sure would like to try. So being intentional with how and when I bring things up, waiting for the next day, waiting until I calm down a couple hours later, whatever it is, that is my power. That is a power that now I hope have over me. And it does help me somewhat control the interaction because I am not coming in, anger flying all over the place, which will always lead to conflict, right? So that's number 2, lead by example in communication. Number 3, be a good partner. Being a partner isn't about, in my mind, it's not about like we split tasks evenly 100%, but it's about working together as a team. It's recognizing each other's strength. It's supporting the other person when they have a need, encouraging each other, praising each other. So leveraging our unique qualities and skills and strengths to be able to work well as a team. So our team, the team that we are on is intentional to, we're not playing a sport. We are trying to have a healthy marriage, trying to raise our child, try to have a good home, peaceful home, harmonious home. That is the team that we are in. That is the environment we are nurturing our team. So if I am going to only do things that pursue my goals, my needs, my wants, then this isn't really a team situation. This is the Nevart show, and my husband and my child are just living in it. What I truly believe in, and I've learned over the years, that I am better at certain things, and then my husband is better at certain things. There are a lot of aspects of our home that come more naturally to me. And he and I have had conversations about we're both clear on the fact that I am the kind of the primary parent, so to speak. Not that he is not an equal parent, but that I do most of the house thing. It just comes naturally to me. And I'm okay with it. Now, yes, if he's not pulling his weight, doing his part, that's going to frustrate me. And we're going to have a conversation and then, things get better. But the reality is I just am. And I did an episode last year with another therapist, a friend of mine, and it was all about being the primary parent. And I remember when we were recording that, I was wondering, I was like, I wonder how my husband feels about this. Like, would that offend him that I see myself as the primary parent? So I brought it up with him. He's like, that's pretty much accurate. Like, yeah, I do a lot of stuff around here. And I acknowledge it. I'm like, absolutely. We couldn't survive if you weren't here and doing all the things that you did. However, the day-to-day stuff, there's more of that I just do. And it doesn't strain me. If he had to come home from work and do all the things that I do for the night to prep for lunches and all the things the next day, he probably would burn a lot faster than I do. I just have the capacity. But by me knowing about myself over the years, I have the capacity for things that he doesn't have the capacity for. Now I have control over myself instead of feeling frustrated about it. I see our strengths and our weaknesses. There are certain things that he does that I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I don't have to do that. That sounds awful. I'm not interested in that being my task. So what I do is I validate and praise when he does those things. And that's what I ask for in return. I will do all the things, but you better freaking tell me how much you appreciate me because that's my love language. You need to tell me all day how amazing it is. So, and he has had to learn how to do that because that is what fills my cup. So be a good partner, learn what your skills are, learn what your husband's skills are, and then nurture that, encourage each other, support each other. Number 4 is know your husband. It's so important to know your audience, right? So if I am communicating with someone in a way that doesn't work for them, if you are the kind of person that learns best through reading something and I instead just lecture you, well, I'm not speaking or communicating in a way that works for you, right? So back to love languages. I need to know, and this happens through conversation and through life together. What are the things that work for my husband? What are the ways to communicate to him? When is the time to communicate to him? How is the way to communicate to him? Because I might want to sit and talk for an hour about our feelings, but oh my gosh, my husband can't tolerate that. So am I doing what I'm doing because it's what I need? Or am I doing what I'm doing because it's what will work? Right? Now I can do both. I can get what I need, but I need to do it in a way that will work. We might have to split this conversation up into multiple times, or I may have to be less long winded, which is hard for me. But I have to be more concise in how I explain my feeling because he's not going to sit here for an hour and listen to me. I need to know my audience, right? What is the way that he needs to learn and listen? And I need to do the same back. I need to teach him what works for me. So if he wants to talk to me about something, well, I need to tell him if the way he tried to talk to me didn't work. Hey, when you came to me and you told me about that, I didn't like the way that you approached me on that. I didn't feel like that was the right time. I felt like you came at me and I know you enough to know that you weren't accusing me, but the way you said it very much felt like an accusation. And then we can have a conversation. Now, if I was just like, you're such an a-hole. Why do you just like that wouldn't be a good way to communicate my feelings. But if I calmly explained to him that I didn't like how he talked to me, now I'm teaching him how to be a good partner, how to know me, and how to know what works for me. So it's a two-way street. We're responsible for telling each other and listening and trying. Because I think where a lot of people get stuck is, well, this is my love language. And that's just how I communicate. Okay, good for you. That's great. That's super important. And you should communicate that to your spouse. But stop trying to stop trying to talk to your spouse in the way that you want to be talked to. Talk to your spouse in the way you know they want to be talked to, because you are trying to get a message across to that person. You already know what you're trying to say. How are you going to communicate it in a way that works best? Well, do it in the way that works for them. It's simple, but we get wrapped up in our own feelings and emotions and reactions and all the things. All right. Number 5, set the tone with positivity. So that just means that you need to have kind of that positive energy. And you're not, I mean, that more in like almost like the compliment sandwich thing, right? Like if I'm going to say something hard to you that's not positive, I want to make sure I don't come in swinging. Let me come in with a positive, maybe talk about like, hey, I really appreciate that you were able to talk to me about that thing. I know you don't love talking about those things, but thank you for doing that. When you brought that up, it was hard for me to hear it because the way you said it sounded more like an accusation. It it didn't seem like you were trying to ask me what I was feeling. It sounded more like you assumed what I was feeling and you just wanted to tell me what your assumption was. And that wasn't great for me. And so in the future, if you could come at me in a different way, ask, hey, is this, this is what I think you were doing. Is that right? I interpreted this. But again, thank you so much for trying to talk to me about it. Maybe we can just do it different, right? So I started it with a positive, I ended it with a positive, and then I communicated the difficulty in the middle because it's just about wording. It's not, the thing I'm trying to communicate is going to get across the same as if I was to say, that was so rude of you. I can't believe you talked to me that way. It's the same. The feeling behind that is I felt offended. I felt hurt, right? But I can communicate it in a rough way, or I can communicate it in a way that nurtures our marriage. And if my goal is to get my feelings out, just make you feel like shit about it, then great, say it as it is. But if my goal is to preserve our marriage and love you and treat you as my best friend because you're my husband, then I need to be controlled in how I talk and what I say. So be positive. Try not to walk around with an attitude. If you're upset about something, don't do the silent treatment. Don't do all that stuff. Be an adult. Talk about your stuff. All right. Number 6, foster independence and interdependence. So basically what I mean by this is that individually, you and your husband are growing as people in your jobs, in your development as parents, in your belief systems about life, whatever. You have a personal journey you're on. Maybe you're trying to work out. Maybe you're trying to start a business, whatever. You got stuff you're working on, but then you are also a team and you're also building a life together. And so you have to be able to do these two together where it's okay to have parts of your life that you are not 100% aware of all the time because it's not possible you can follow each other around at work all day, but that you also bring as much as you can back to the relationship, to that partnership. So kind of encouraging each other, maybe for self-care. Hey, you know what? Go do that thing, go fishing, go get a massage, go play a video game, go get your nails done, go out with friends, whatever. Encourage each other to do the things that reset your partner, make them feel good, fill their cup, also nurture the relationship together. do things together as a couple, going, spending time together, whether you're going out, staying in, whatever it is you're doing, share dreams, share goals, talk about those things, but also don't be threatened by the fact that your partner has a life outside of, right? As long as it is your relationship at the foundation of all of it, um, you know, being able to be more confident in the time that you're apart and be strong in the time that you're okay. So that was number 6, foster independence and interdependence. And now number 7 is be intentional about so what I mean about that is be deliberate about how you want to influence your partner, right? Whether it's through like daily rituals, planned discussions, setting mutual goals. Like if your goal is, I want to have a better, I want to have more fun with my husband. Okay. Be intentional about that. What does that look like? Because you could just get stuck in the like, oh, we're so boring. We don't have any fun together. We don't have anything in common. And now I'm just going to be miserable about it. Or I could say, I really want that to change. Let me see what I can do. Let me research some ideas. Let me ask my husband. Let's put ideas in a hat and pick the one that we want to do, even if it's something the other person doesn't love, but we're going to do it because it's the other person's passion. Like be deliberate about how make time to talk. Maybe you want to be deliberate about sending a text to your spouse midway through the day to see how they're doing. Or when they get home, stop whatever you're doing and go over there, give an intentional hug and greet them back for their day. Or call them on your way home to let them know you're on your way so that you can improve communication about where the other person is. Be really intentional with letting the other person know if you're running late so that there is this, again, contribution to teamwork. Hey, if the kid has soccer tonight and something's going on in your world and you can't be there on time, as soon as you figure that out, you need to communicate because that affects the other person. So being intentional with the little things, the rituals in the morning, the hug after work, whatever, but also the bigger things like, hey, we really need to pay off this debt and we need to be more intentional. Let's sit down and let's figure out what we want to cut, what we want to do, how we want to contribute to that difference. So just be a leader in that sense and say, if something's not working, be intentional. Sit down and try to figure out how to fix it. Number 8 is practice empathy. So I want you to really put yourself in your husband's shoes more often. And this is something we need to do with our kids, with people that are important to us. If you think about if your husband comes home from work and you know what this person's day is like, then try to be considerate of like, what do I need to present them with right now? I had a really crappy day and I want to talk about it. But I know that right now, that's not going to go over well. He's not going to hear me. He's overwhelmed. I'm not going to get what I want back because of his headspace. So let me wait. Let me wait till after we've eaten dinner. Maybe I have to wait till right at bedtime, maybe tomorrow, right? Or if I'm really stressed and he's really stressed, and again, it would be great if he was part of this conversation, but I am teaching women. Hopefully someone out there is teaching the men, because it is a two-way street. This isn't all on you, but here we are. No, read that audience. If you know that he's stressed, he is not in a good mood, you may have to pick and choose how to let something go. If his struggle or his strength is in something that's not yours. Like if he leaves socks on the floor or doesn't offer to do something that he sees you struggling with to do, is it because he doesn't care and he's selfish, or is it because he's in his head and you know him, and when he's stressed, he can't see outside of what's right in front of him? That might be frustrating to you and you'd like that to change. But right now, is that just where you are? And you just need to learn how to be empathetic, right? Show empathy, show care. Maybe instead of, he might wake up and say, I didn't sleep well. And you might be like, I had a terrible night too. But in that moment, you ask yourself, is that important for me to say? Do I want to get in a little pissing match where I compare who had a worse night? Or do I just say, I actually know he's had a lot on his mind with work right now, or there's a family thing going on that has him really stressed. And right now, all I need to do is show empathy and say, I'm so sorry you had a bad night. Maybe later on in the day, you can come back and say, I know you had a rough night too, but God, I'm so tired. I actually didn't sleep very well last night. And now he can say, yeah, I'm sorry. But in the moment, if he says, I had a bad night, and you're like, I had a bad night too, it's just weird. I don't know. It's just psychology. Like we just get into a little pissing match about who had the worst night and's more tired. It's just human nature, so figure out where you need to say what you're saying, where you need to just show it. Be quiet, considerate, knowing that, if this is a bigger thing, if this is part of a bigger problem, we can come back to it another time and say, hey, I want to talk about this. I feel like you don't notice as much. Like when you have a bad night or you have a hard day, I try my best to be really considerate of that and not pressure you to do certain things. But I don't feel like I get that same thing back. I feel like I've had a hard day and I've communicated that to you. You don't really try to take something off my plate. And I would like to talk about that. I'd like for us to do better in how we try to take things off each other's plates or be more mindful of the stress the other person's going through, right? So finding the right time to have that conversation. Number 9, create shared experiences. Have fun together, do things together, reinforce your connection, create a sense of like collective control over your marriage, right? Of the direction of your marriage. Hey, what are our goals together? Do we want to, like, let's sit down, let's think of the 3 things we really want to achieve in this year. We'll want to go on a good vacation. We want to save up some money and we got to find, maybe be more present with our children. Whatever that is, now you work towards it together. You communicate together. You sit and work towards those things together. And then you also have fun together. You plan vacations, plan outings. You sit and have a, movie night at home, just the 2 of you while the kids are asleep, whatever. Shared experiences, grow in the fun and the time that you spend together and in the goals for your marriage. All right. Last one, number 10, reflect and adjust. So your marriage is always growing. You are always growing. You have to do check-ins the same way that you get a routine maintenance, oil change, whatever on your car, the same way that you go to your, doctor and get blood work yearly. Your marriage needs to have a regular health checkup, right? How are we doing? Are we doing the things that we want to be doing? Are we just so caught up in the busy day-to-day stuff that we've really lost track of doing fun things together, going out together, working on our financial goals, whatever. So being intentional with tuning up and checking on the health of your marriage and talking about it and making sure, hey, are you okay? Or do you like what we're doing? Are you okay with how we're spending your time together? Do you wish we could be doing anything different? Or, yeah, I really would like for us to have date night more often, or I'd really love for us to, uh, I don't know, go for walks together, whatever it is. Make sure that you are asking yourself on a regular basis, is our marriage getting what it needs? Am I doing the things that nurture my marriage to be strong? And if you do that, then that self-awareness really carries you far. Because if you're paying attention, it's harder for things to fall through the cracks. You're not perfect. We'll never be perfect. None of us are. But it goes better when we're paying attention. So I hope that was helpful for you to realize how much control you can take in the direction of your marriage, over yourself, over your marriage, and how you interact with your husband. So, a thing I was thinking also is if you find that, like, kind of like I was saying at the end of last session, writing it down, if you need to listen to this again and make those kind of goals for yourself, like, are you doing a good job with practicing empathy, with creating shared experiences, all those things, write it down, set some goals for yourself, kind of figure out what you want to do, maybe decide with your husband that, maybe there are some things that you want to be more intentional about together. But those are my 10 steps to taking control in the direction of your marriage. So I hope that was helpful to you. I enjoyed sharing that with you, and to be continued. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.